Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm the Sports Guru 716 and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Today I intend on talking about NASCAR and how I feel about NASCAR after the race at Atlanta. I understand this video is being uploaded on Thursday instead of Wednesday, and I apologize for that. I do intend on uploading on Wednesdays and not Thursdays going forward. So first I will talk about what the biggest news is, which is the Brian France comments and how that affects NASCAR, and then also talk about the race. So if you didn't know, Brian France pretty much backed Donald Trump, and I don't want to get too political, but I will kind of talk about this in more of a business sense than a political sense, because I don't want to get political in this video. So Brian France comes out and says he is for Donald Trump. Now, the problem with that is when you are a big person with a lot of followers, a lot of people know who you are, a lot of people are going to listen to what you say. Regardless if your demographic is slated towards a certain candidate or a certain way of thinking, it's not best for you to go out and, voice your opinion like that, because you have a lot of people that support you that may not feel that way. And what NASCAR has run into is Brian France supported Donald Trump, and Camping World, the full-time sponsor, the sponsor of the series for the trucks, also known as almost the AA level of NASCAR, has come out and said they're not happy about this. They're not happy that he has voiced his opinion like this, and they are not in favor of Donald Trump apparently, in which case this causes a rift between a major sponsor of the series and the president of the series. And the problem with that is the trucks have a big tough time with making themselves successful. I almost want to feel like it's a loser every year in terms of money, just because there's not many trucks in every race, and they only race about 24 times a year, 25 times a year maybe. I know right now they're on a month hiatus. They race at Atlanta after Daytona, and then they don't race for a month. So the truck series, it's a very niche racing series because it's trucks and no one else drives trucks. Most of us all cars, and to find a sponsor after Craftsman left years ago was tough, and Camping World really kind of held out on re-upping with NASCAR, and now they have. But at the same time, now that Brian France said what he said, they may not, they may back out, and in which case they have a serious problem, because you can't go out and say your opinion when you have a lot of people that follow you, especially one that may be controversial. You want to keep your politics away from your job, and the problem is, like, when you come out and say, hey, I'm backing Donald Trump, if I said that, nobody's going to care because 15 people watch this video. But if you're Brian France and you tell, 1,000 people, and then they go and start telling more people, and all the NASCAR fans see that you're backing Donald Trump, and, Camping World obviously isn't a fan of Donald Trump, as I said, and it's obvious that this is the case, so they're not going to want the support for Donald Trump, and I don't want to get political. So that was wrong of Brian France to do. He shouldn't have said anything. You're supposed to keep your vote private. That's why it's anonymous, and there's an anonymous ballot, so no one can look over your shoulder to see what you're voting. And with that, I think you need to understand that when you do voice it, you're going to be subject to criticism. And it's obvious, and especially in a presidential race such as this, that there's a lot of criticism going around from both parties. And when you have a professional sport where you, not only a professional sport that is probably the 5th major sport right now, but it is a sport that is searching for a new demographic or a way to expand its markets from what it has currently down south. And the problem is you have a series that has lost a lot of viewership. It's going down in numbers, and doing this is only going to hurt it more. and it's going to hurt your pocket and sponsorships. People are gonna see this and maybe feel second guess whether they want to sponsor your series and sponsor what you preach. So if I'm Brian France, I take that back, or you own up to it, I guess, because pretty much you really owned up to it. So it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing for him. I'm sure he regrets his decision, but that was definitely the wrong thing to do. Comment below how you feel about Brian France doing what he did. Don't get well, political's good. If you guys argue in the comments, if people comment and they argue, that's good. I guess the second half of this video, I'll talk about the race. That was Kenseth's race to lose, I believe, and he lost it. Jason Ratcliffe lost that for him. Well, actually, the pit guy lost it for them. Yeah, he got caught doing a small thing. I'm sure he did it the first week of the year at Daytona, and he did it for pit stops before the one he got caught in at Atlanta. So, it's a thing. It's a shame that he lost the race that way, because Ratcliffe is right at the same time as Matt Kenseth is. That, hey, I was arguing the call. I didn't have time to tell you. The spotter then should have been like, hey, man, just so you know, your black flag, you should probably go down pit road. Kenseth was wondering why he wasn't told by his crew chief. His crew chief said, I was arguing with the official. So that's too bad. It was pretty much then between Harvick and Truex, in which case Truex took pretty much something broke. I think the track bar broke on his car's adjuster, which caused him not to be able to adjust with the track after he got a set of tires his last set, or his second to last set. And he just couldn't keep up with Harvick. And Jimmie Johnson, now the winner of the race, the eventual winner, he did what they do. Chad Knaus did what they always do. They won a race that they shouldn't have. And it wasn't like they really shouldn't have. They had a top 5 car all day. They had a very good car, but not as good as Harvick, not as good as Truex. So because tires were so important, they went down pit road early, a little bit of pit strategy, and they got like a 12-second lead on Harvick. And Harvick was going to get some of it back because his tires would be fresher than Johnson's, but Harvick ended up using up all his tires and wasn't able to keep up with Johnson, and Johnson ended up winning the race on a late restart, which I guess that would have just changed everything, that early pit stop. But Johnson was able to get that track position necessary to get up front on the front row. And because they only went one lap around to decide the winner in the green-white checker scenario, or the overtime scenario now, that Johnson won because he had the upper hand. So with that, the race was boring. I don't wish for accidents. I just wish for, I guess, some debris cautions. Maybe somebody spins. It's not too bad of an accident. It's not a significant accident, but I don't want to see green flag run where there's only 10 cars on the lead lap by the end of it. Then all of a sudden it's only a 10-car race instead of a 20, 30-car race. It's a 10-car race, and that's what it was at the end. You had a situation where I was happy that the Roush cars, we had 2 in the top 15. That's an improvement after 2 starting in the top 5, which was crazy. That was a first in a long time. It's something to build off of going into this week in Las Vegas. I don't know, those Gibbs cars are so good, and it's going to be real tough for everybody in the series to catch up to the Gibbs crew, as well as Harvick and the Hendrick Motorsports crew. So it's going to be those guys every week that are going to be battling for wins, and once in a while you'll have somebody else up there that kind of changes it up. But right now, Gibbs has a lock on what's got to be done, and they are doing a great job at it. So everybody's playing catch up to the Toyotas. And that should be the end of my video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like down below. If you want to comment down below. If you have any questions regarding NASCAR, I'll gladly respond to them. Subscribe so you know when I upload next. And I do, as I said in the beginning of the video, intend on uploading a weekly NASCAR themed video on Wednesdays. If you subscribe, you'll know what time of day on Wednesday it'll end up coming up. It'll give you a notification on YouTube so you know when it's up. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.